This video is going to look at lists in Python. What a list is also known as an array, and basically it's just a list of items, and I can do different things with that list once I've created it. So here I've got my shopping list, and notice that I've got these square brackets there, and I've used quotation marks between the different items, and they're separated by commas there. So each of these is separate items. That's really important. So once I've done that, once I've created that, then I can then write some lines of code. I can print out my shopping list if I want to. So if I just save that, yep, and run that, there is my shopping list. Now what I really want to do is I just want to print out a specific part of that list. So I may want to print out just item 1, element 1 in my list. So what I need to do then is just edit that line of code, put in a square bracket 1 like that, save it and run it, and I'll just move this back over here. It tells me that item 1, element 1 is pears. Now you may be asking yourself, why isn't that apples? Well, array indexing starts at 0, so if I wanted that to be apples, if I wanted to print out apples, I'd need to change that to 0 like this and run that, and there I've got my apples. Now what if I wanted to add an element to my list in my program? I could do it like this, or I could just simply type it in and add it there, or I could do it like this if I wanted to do it after a certain amount of time, for example, or a condition had been met. Shopping list dot append, look at that word there, append, which is meaning I'm adding to that list, and then write the value in quotation marks there with the brackets, and if I print that out, I should see now that I've got 5 values instead of 4. So there's eggs added to the end of that list now. Now what if I want to remove an item from the list? Now obviously I could just go and edit my list here, but I could do that in my program. And as I said about adding something to the list, you may want to do that after a certain condition has been met in your program, or after a certain point. So if I write shopping underscore list dot remove and then the value in there, then I can take that out. So if I run this again here, I've now taken out pears because I've gone off them. I've removed them from my shopping list. Now it may be that I want to insert a new value in at a certain point. I don't want it on the end, which is what I get if I used append. I want it in position 1, for example. I want it between these two. So that's position 0. That's position 1. I want it in there. So what I do is I write the name of my array and then insert in the position I want it in there, which is position 1, comma, and the value I want to insert. So if I run this here, should be able to see now that honey has been inserted into position 1. So that is how to the basics of lists in Python, which are arrays. It's important to remember that what I've got here is this is my array, and I can add these things to it, but when I run that again, shopping list at the start of that will just contain these items. These will only be added after I've inserted them here using this. And this is what I've got here is these are basically constant because I set them in my code. I set them at the start, and they're not going to change unless I do something like that. If I delete that code and I just printed my shopping list, it will be the same however many times I ran that program. So it's kind of like a constant in that it's always going to stay the same unless you change it within your code. So that is arrays or lists within Python. That's the basics of them.